ABC. Yes, everybody is a fan. This is the biggest party, man. All my rowdy friends across this land. We all got it started. Yeah. Everything is ready. Everything is right. Monday Night Football is coming on tonight. Happy New Year.
AB.
In the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, sellout crowd on hand, nearly 70,000 for the final game of the 1990 regular NFL season. The Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints, and tonight the final playoff team will be decided. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford along with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf, and for all of us at ABC, a very happy New Year's Eve to all of you.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Cheers. Good health.
And a very simple scenario for tonight's football game. The New Orleans Saints know that if they can win or tie tonight, they will be the final wild card. They will play Chicago in Chicago next Sunday. They lose tonight, and believe me, there are a lot of Cowboys looking on in Dallas tonight, because if the Saints lose tonight, the Dallas Cowboys will go against Chicago as that final wild card. And Al, for the Rams, 5-10, I don't know, I've been on some losing teams. It's tough to get together to play that last game, but they have already started making very positive plans for 1991.
Well, the big change is a very positive one as far as the players are concerned. The speculation ended in regard to John Robinson last week. Team owner Georgia Fronteri said his contract would be honored next year. In fact, it would be extended, and in addition, he'd be given more power in the front office. So Robinson is there for the long run as he completes his 8th season. But he's coming off a very, what the players called, embarrassing performance last week against Atlanta. He's hoping that with New Orleans still alive for a playoff spot, that will elevate the play of the Rams tonight. We'll find out. As far as the Saints are concerned, Dan, well, they got their late Christmas present from Atlanta yesterday. Now let's see what they do with it.
Yeah, the present is under the tree, Al, but it's going to be 3 hours before they get to open it, and somebody could snatch it away. The Saints got everything they could possibly ask for. Now it's in their own hands tonight. The word, I think, the key word this evening has to be emotion. Will it be the Saints' friend or the Saints' foe? When it's on your side, it gets everybody on the defense to the ball carrier quicker. It gets a receiver to a ball that maybe is a little bit overthrown. When that emotion works against you, it makes you tight. You want to play well, you want to win, but somehow you're so strung, so tight, it doesn't happen. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the New Orleans Saints tonight. A pressure game, a playoff game. How will they handle it? That's what we'll find out this evening.
Superdome is sold out. Blackout has been lifted. The New Year's celebration has already begun, and they are hopeful it will continue well into the night as they try to exhort their Saints into the playoffs. Morton Anderson kicks off, and it's a beauty through the end zone. And Morton Anderson has been doing that with regularity this season and throughout his illustrious career. Jim Everett, it has not been a good season for Everett. His performance pretty much reflected by the entire team's performance, and he's coming off a terrible afternoon in Atlanta. He was 13 for 40 against the Falcons. Marcus Dupree, and this is an amazing story which we'll detail. He starts at one running back spot with McGee. Ellard and Anderson are the wideouts. Pat Carter the tight end. And there's the offensive line. Tom Newberry is hurt and won't play. On first down, here is Marcus Dupree from the 20 out to the 23-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. Here's the Saints defense, very much the strength of their team, especially in recent weeks, and in particular the linebackers. Up front, they're banged up. It's Wilkes, Goff, and Turnbull tonight. Wayne Martin is hurt. Ricky Jackson, Mills, Johnson, and Swilling, the last two going to the Pro Bowl. The linebackers, Massey and Cook, are the cornerbacks, and Maxey and Atkins are the safeties. Second down and 7 from the 23-yard line. McGee in motion, and Everett a short drop and a quick out for Ellard, and it's incomplete. It will be third down and 7. Jim Mora, the most successful coach by far in the history of this franchise, and John Robinson, who in fact as a coach has won more games than any Ram coach in history. Third down and 7 from the 23-yard line. Flipper Anderson at the bottom of the screen had an incredible night in the meeting between these two teams here last year. 15 catches. Everett goes deep. Everett with a stretched out Ellard making the catch. Henry Ellard had beaten the coverage, and Everett lost it downfield, and Ellard, stretching out fully and completely, makes the catch for a first down.
Great effort on the part of Ellard. Robert Massey gives him a little bunt now. Ellard will give it a little look to the outside, and that froze Massey. Did you see Massey go for it? And Everett had him open and almost overthrew it, and Ellard saved it for Everett. Great catch.
Well, I think that may answer some questions maybe some people had about, will the Rams just mail this game in or not? That effort by Henry Ellard was not indicative of a team that was just coming here to file their 3 hours worth of work and then head back to the West Coast.
First down from the 46. Dupree picks up about 3, and he is gang tackled. The ball came loose. The Saints are contending that it came loose before he hit the ground. Pat Swilling is right in the middle of it there. Gordon McCarter is the referee. It's the Rams ball. Vaughn Johnson and Sam Mills in on the tackle.
That is quite a story. Al, you alluded to a moment ago, Marcus Dupree. That's the 8th carry of the football for this former great collegiate star at Oklahoma and Mississippi State. And I don't know how you ever figured that he can come back after 6 years off of this game. Just amazing.
And he played only 1 season of college football. That was at Oklahoma as a freshman. After enrolling at Southern Miss, he didn't play at all there. Dupree gets stopped for a loss of 1. In on the tackle is Ricky Jackson. And he was injured. He suffered what was thought to be a career-ending injury, did Marcus Dupree, when he played in the USFL with the then New Orleans Breakers, who went to Portland. It was in Portland that he hurt himself, and here he is as a freshman. This was the promise he showed early on for Barry Switzer. And then in the USFL, that same style, the elusiveness and the quickness, but that knee injury shelved him for 5 years. Now he's back. 3rd down and 9 from the 44-yard line. Everett dumps it off for McGee. McGee breaks an initial tackle, seeks the first down, but doesn't get it. Gene Atkins was there to make the stop. Pat Swilling put the pressure on Everett, and it will be 4th down and a long 1.
There's a question we posed to John Robinson this afternoon when we talked to him. Out of the playoffs, you've got a 5-10 team. What will you do in certain situations, short yardage? Would you play it differently than you would if you were needing a game to go into the playoffs? Take a look again to the pass to McGee, who one of the Rams who's having a superb year, his best season on the San Diego Chargers. Came up with Ernie Zampese, and the Rams are going to go on 4th down.
The 2 backs are Del Pino and McGee. Del Pino in motion. Everett on 4th down, throws complete to Holohan, and he has enough for a first down. It's a gain of about 1.5 yards, but that's all they needed. Pat Swilling and Vaughn Johnson converge on the tackle.
Again, we're watching 2 teams here. One desperately needing a win to get into the playoffs, and this man's club that is loose and easy. I think there's an indication of what you can do when you're loose and easy. Throw it on 4th and 2, and that time Jim Everett had plenty of time. He had to go from one man to another, and it was there. And that's, I think, what Jim Moore's club is going to be facing tonight. A team that doesn't care. They can take chances, take risks. And I hate to play the Rams when you need a win.
On 1st and 10, Everett fires, and a juggling catch by Ellard. His 2nd sensational catch on this drive. First down.
That may top the first one. Ellard in a lot of traffic in the Saints zone, and Everett reading it with him, fired it in there. He threw the ball in there high, and that's one, if you're ever going to drop one, you're going to drop this one, because he went up and caught it, juggled the football, maintained the concentration, got the height to begin with. The ball's loose, totally focused on that football, and he knows he could just get creamed. Somehow he comes down with it. That's one of the great catches you'll see for the season.
Gene Atkins at the end almost looks like he hits the ball right here when he comes across from the safety position. Phenomenal play by all.
Here's Cleveland Gary looking to throw on 1st and goal. Too deep. Buford McGee in the corner of the end zone got open, But it's incomplete. It's second down and goal. Is a flag down, our first penalty of the game.
I think this is going to go against the Rams. Boy, was McGee wide open.
Holding, number 88 offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Pat Carter, the tight end.
Carter's filling in for Damone Johnson at tight end. Carter number 88, and you'll see the hole right here working against Ricky Jackson. And
good one.
He almost stripped Jackson of his jersey, but look how open McGee is out of the backfield.
Well, you can see Gene Atkins, number 28, who had McGee in his pass coverage responsibilities. He got fooled right away. He almost could have been flagged for holding.
Saints accept the penalty, so it's first and goal from the 19-yard line. And on the ground, this is Cleveland Gary, who in the future will clearly be their primary running back. Would have been as this season winds down, except for the fumbleitis he developed. And to take some of the pressure off, John Robinson has had him coming off the bench, but that won't be the case next year.
I think Robinson would like to go back to a little more of a running game. He talks about that, but he'd also like to see Cleveland Gary in there with Marcus Dupree, and that would be about 500 pounds or close to it of running back. That's John Robinson football. He calls it tough football, and that's how he likes to play it. He said he got away from it a little bit, and he's going to go back to it.
Second and goal from the 17-yard line. Everett for Holohan, and incomplete. Sandwiched between two defenders, Gene Atkins and Vince Buck were right there, so it will be third and goal from the 17 with 9:01 to go in the opening quarter and no score.
One that Everett appeared to either throw away or he got Holohan on a bad move. And certainly we're not in sync, but he was able to get it beyond the defenders.
Rams on the opening drive of the game have moved 63 yards, are faced with a third and goal at the 17. Only a three-man rush, 8 back. McGee stopped at the 13. And so the Rams will have to settle for a field goal attempt. Sam Mills is in on the tackle, and Mike Lansford, and the field goal unit comes in. This will be roughly a 30-yard attempt, as they'll spot it at the 20. Pete Holohan will put it down. Mike McDonald will do the snapping. And Lansford's kick is no good.
Whoa.
That's a pretty good lift for the Saints. Great drive for the Rams. Bogs down, and Lansford just misses.
7-minute drive almost, and you come away with nothing. That hurts. Hooks it, as we see so often, and just misses on the outside.
Wasted a lot of good work by Henry Ellard.
At the Superdome in New Orleans on this New Year's Eve, the Saints fighting for a spot in the playoffs, have the ball for the first time in the game. No score, 8:21 to go first quarter. First and 10 from the 20. Steve Walsh, the quarterback. That's Brett Perriman in motion. And Walsh starts with a pass to Eric Martin, who gains 3. He is stopped by Darrell Henley. And let's take a look at the New Orleans offense, which has really struggled of late. Steve Walsh came over after the season had started. Remember, he backed up Troy Aikman in Dallas. Now he's trying to knock Dallas out of the playoffs. He's got Ironhead Hayward and Reuben Mays behind him. Martin and Perryman the wideouts, and Hobie Brenner the tight end. The offensive line has done a very nice job this season, both run blocking and as far as pass protection is concerned. 2nd and 7. Walsh stepping up and stepping out for a gain of 4. Takes it to the 27. Larry Kelm makes the tackle. Now the Ram defense is minus one very key man tonight. They have Reed Wright and Peel up front, but Kevin Green, their sack specialist, is out. Farinez takes his spot with Klosterman, Butcher, and Wilcher. Gray and Henley are the corners. Stewart and Newsom are the safeties. There is Kevin Green. He has recorded 13 of their 30 sacks this season, so he is a big, big loss. 3rd and 3. Gil Fenerty is in there. He's the third down back, number 22, who had a big day against the Rams 3 weeks ago. He stays in the block as Walsh throws for a first down to Morton. He's to the 40. He's into Ram territory and bumped out of bounds by Pat Terrell at the 39-yard line.
Okay, they better go back to the drawing board of that defense. 7 defensive backs were in there for the Rams. 3 down linemen and a linebacker. And still, he was this wide open. That's Humphrey passing him on in the Ram zone, number 48. But nobody is over on the other side with 7 defensive backs in there in the zone.
What happened, they cleared it out on a crossing pattern, Frank. Both receivers to the left went on a crossing pattern. Then Martin came across underneath, and you're right, a very, very poor adjustment by the Rams.
That is something the Saints have lacked for almost the entire season. The big play, 34-yard pickup. This is Hayward picking up just 1. The Saints had gone 9 consecutive games without a pass play of 30 or more yards. It's more than half a season until just now when Martin breaks one for 34.
Their offense has been miserable, particularly over the past couple of games. There you see what Dal was talking about. That the quarterback in the last couple of games, Steve Walsh, has been 17 of 51. He's had a 33% completion average. And Morrow, I think, is going to try to win this game with defense tonight. He's going to let Steve Walsh throw the ball, but it's going to be very conservative in terms of offense, even for Jim Morrow, who is noted for his conservative play.
2nd and 9 at the 38. No score. 5:45 to play. First quarter. Mays, with a second effort, takes it to the 34-yard line. Larry Kelm makes the stop, along with Michael Stewart, and it will be 3rd down and 5. As far as the playoff picture is concerned, the league announcing today Saturday's games, both on ABC, will be Washington at Philadelphia, Kansas City at Miami. Then on Sunday, the Oilers go to Cincinnati, and if New Orleans wins tonight, they go to Chicago. If the Saints lose tonight, Dallas goes to Chicago. And our games begin at noon Eastern time. Redskins, Eagles first, Chiefs, Dolphins second. 3rd down, a long 4 from the 34-yard line. Walsh out of the gun. Throws incomplete, intended for Martin. And so it's 4th down.
Came right back with the play that was so successful with them earlier, and that was with Martin crossing under the 2 deep men, and they made that adjustment then.
Well, Steve Walsh has to be displeased with himself because that time the Rams take a gamble. They come with a 2-man blitz, and they lock up single coverage on all 4 of those wide receivers. The blitz is picked up. The blitz is picked up and blocked beautifully at the line of scrimmage, and Steve Walsh makes a poor throw.
Morton Anderson, a 51-yard attempt from 50 and beyond this year. He's 3 for 3, so he tries to stay perfect. And the kick is going to be close, but no good.
That was a tough snap to get down on a long kick. It really was. Joel Hilgenberg was the snapper. He put that up high, and really difficult for Bernhardt to get it down, particularly on a long kick.
So each team's opening drive ends with a just missed field goal. Still no score. Back in New Orleans with no score, 4:45 to play in the first quarter. Lansford and Anderson each missing a field goal attempt. Rams take over at the 33-yard line, and on 1st down, Marcus Dupree goes nowhere. Ronaldo Turnbull makes the stop. Yesterday, the Saints were watching Dallas lose to Atlanta. Well, tonight turned about as fair play, and there are 3 of the Cowboys looking on from the Sports Cafe in Irving, Texas. Nate Newton, Clemente Gordon, and Eugene Lockhart, who are all, I'm sure, very upset that Morton Anderson missed that field goal, right, guys?
Oh, no, real upset. We've been doing it all night.
Right. All right, we'll check with you from time to time. 2nd and 10. Everett throws incomplete, sort of in the neighborhood of Cleveland Gary. Pressure was put on by Ricky Jackson that time, and it will be 3rd down and 10.
Good coverage downfield, too. The Saints bringing their safety, Brett Maxey, and the Rams were able to pick it up, but Everett had the time, but the coverage was there.
Yeah, but what he was facing was a 2nd and long situation. What the Rams haven't done at all so far this game is run the football. This Saints team extremely difficult to run the ball So far, they've done what they want. That puts Jim Everett into third and second and long situation.
On 3rd and 11, Everett's pass is incomplete, intended for Anderson and thrown behind him. Vince Buck covering on the play. And Dan, when the Rams begin to try to establish that running game, they might have to do it without Buford McGee, who hurt his hand on that opening drive and has been taken back for x-rays.
Well, Buford McGee is the best blocker in that backfield, and you got Gary, you got Green, you got Dupree. None of those guys are outstanding blockers, so it's even going to, as you say, further handicap the Rams in their attempts to run the ball.
Keith English, a low line drive kick. Vince Buck picks it up at the 31-yard line and breaks a tackle at the 43, gets into Ram territory and takes it all the way down to the 35-yard line. George Bethune makes the tackle, but the Saints in good shape as they begin their second drive after a 36-yard punt and a 34-yard run back.
Vince Buck, he made a good play defensively a moment ago, the rookie from Central State in Ohio, and spots a little bit of an opening, gets a couple of blocks and pops through the seam in good field position now for the Saints. Covering up that football.
Saints 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. No score, 3:46 left, first quarter. 3 tight end set for the Saints. And they run out of that set with Hayward exploiting a big hole and a first down to the 22-yard line.
Boy, isn't that Jim Moore of football? Stack the tight ends in there and slam the big guy into the middle. And not many teams slam a guy this big up the middle. Ironhead, a good solid 260 pounds. And Al talked at the beginning of the show about how well the Saints have blocked up front. That time the Saints and their offensive line just removed everybody from the Rams before Ironhead was a good 5-6 yards downfield.
Hayward out.
Ironhead, love it. You gotta love that name, Ironhead.
He's spelled by Mays. And again, the 3 tight end set. And this time, Reuben Mays has a little bit less success than did Hayward on the last play. Stopped by Paul Butcher, the inside linebacker.
That's exactly the same formation, but you run a risk. They're going to run a tight end trap. Well, that gives a linebacker a lot of time to shoot a gap, and that's exactly what Butcher does. When you trap with a tight end, he has to travel 5 men all the way across tackle to tackle to make his trap, and that is just, I think, far too long a period of time. It allows that guy to blitz, and Butcher read it beautifully that time. They'll do it every time.
This time, same formation to the right side as on 2nd and 13. Walsh off the play fake, has a man open! Touchdown! Floyd Turner.
Floyd Turner saved it for Steve Walsh. And why the Rams were fooled on play fake action on 2nd and long yardage, I don't know, but they froze up. He's wide open, breaking away from Jerry Gray, and then Walsh almost throws it away.
Well, the safety in there, Frank, was Latin Berry, number 42, and he's the guy that really chewed all over that run fake, late to get into that deep middle.
Morton Anderson for the point after. So the run back by Buck sets them up at the 36, and Walsh gets them home with this pass to Turner.
A great diving effort there by Turner. Lots of intensity here tonight. Saints, of course, so much on the line, and this one saves one for the young quarterback, Steve Walsh. Puts the Saints on the scoreboard. A little bit of a problem with his mic.
Morton Anderson kicks off and again boots it through the end zone. His second touchback of the game. And the Rams will begin their third drive at the 20-yard line with 2:07 to play in the first quarter. Back in New Orleans, bad news for the Rams. A fractured wrist bone, the radius, fractured on the hand of Buford McGee, so he is done, obviously, for the night and the season as well. And the Rams begin this drive from the 20-yard line. So Robert Del Pino figures to see a lot more action tonight, and Pat Carter has already seen enough action. That's the second time he's been flagged.
Full start, 88 offense. 5 yards, still first down.
Losing Buford McGee kind of compounds things for the Rams. Their problems because Damone Johnson could not go tonight with a pulled hamstring, and Buford McGee works kind of like a tight end out of the backfield, a good receiver with 45 receptions. So there will be some adjustments made in the passing game for the Rams.
1st and 15 from the 15. Saints lead 7-0 late first quarter. Marcus Dupree out to the 28-yard line for a gain of 13. And that'll set up a 2nd and short. A reminder coming up on Saturday, the playoffs begin, and on ABC at noon Eastern time, and that's 9 a.m. on the coast Saturday, the Redskins take on the Eagles at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. And then at 4 o'clock Eastern time, the Kansas City Chiefs go to Miami. Joe Robbie Stadium is the site as the NFL playoffs get underway. That's Saturday. Both games here on ABC. Second and 2 from the 28-yard line. And a first down, a 5-yard pickup for Marcus Dupree, who was stopped by Brett Maxey.
That was a nice jiggle to the outside by such a big back in Marcus Dupree. That play intended to go between the tackles, and then he made a nice move to the outside, picked up 5 yards and the first down. Showed some good ability to plant, make a cut to the outside, and even after 5 years, it appears that the instincts have not dried up and blown away.
Cleveland Gary is in as the tailback in this set. 1st and 10 from the 33, and it's a swing pass out to Gary, and a nice tackle by Sam Mills, the 5'9" fire plug. Stops him in his tracks at the 34-yard line. First quarter winding down.
Sam Mills has really captured the imagination of John Robinson, the Rams coach. He went on and on at length about how Sam Mills at 5'9", and Al mentioned a moment ago, would just kind of move in under tackles. He plays the linebacking position like a running back. He's not all that big, but he moves around like a running back, gets himself clear, and then he is a sure tackler. They call him the field mice. So that's how he plays this game. He just bops around, comes up with the big plays for them.
First quarter is over. Saints trying to win a trip to Chicago. Lead 7-0. We'll be back after this commercial message and a word from our ABC stations. Second quarter on New Year's Eve from New Orleans. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. 7-0 Saints. And it's 2nd down and 9 for the Rams from their own 34-yard line as Marcus Dupree takes it out to the 40-yard line, picks up 6. It'll be 3rd and 3. Ronaldo Turnbull and Toy Cook converge on the tackle. And there are the numbers through the first 15 minutes of play with the Saints on top 7-0.
Rams with a good opening drive of almost 7 minutes and came away with nothing.
Lansford missed a field goal attempt. Anderson followed that up by missing a field goal attempt from 51. But then the Saints, after a good run back on a punt by Vince Buck, cashed in for the game's only score. Holohan makes the catch, stretches out, has the first down. Robert Massey makes the tackle. And the Rams convert on 3rd down and have a 1st and 10 at the 46. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Bud Dry. Why ask why? Bud Dry, for refreshment that's beyond question. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? First and 10 from the 46. Jim Everett has begun the game. 7 for his first 11. Remember last week, 13 for 40, less than 33%. And he airs it out. Ellard is open, and Ellard makes the catch. The ball was underthrown, but it's a huge gain anyway. Toy Cook is there to make the tackle.
When you're that wide open, I don't know if the ball could be too far underthrown. It would have had to slip out of the hands of Jim Everett to be too far underthrown.
Watch the safety blitz, and the Saints come with it very late. They get no advantage from it. And Eller comes with a little move to the outside, and Cook bought it all the way, and this ball hung up there. He could almost call for the fair catch. Just not good reaction on the part of that secondary because that ball hung forever.
3 big catches for Eller tonight on first down. Here's Cleveland Gary taking it to the 10. Mills makes the stop. Ellard has not had a typical season for him. It's been, well, in relative terms, subpar. And it's reflected there. Last year, he had 32 receptions of 20 or more yards. And coming in tonight, he had only 11. He's added 3 and now has 14.
Not been the healthiest of years for Ellard, too. He missed 1 game and been bothered, little nagging injuries. He's made a couple of superb catches here tonight.
2nd and 8. And Jackson came across the line early. The pass is almost picked off by Atkins. Ricky Jackson was clearly across the line of scrimmage before the snap. The question is, was he induced by a Ram? He wasn't.
Well, these are some cheap yards for the Rams. Boy, you've got a team outside the 10. There's Ricky right there filling your screen on the right side.
He had to be guessing with the snap number, watching that man in motion, and the Rams had probably snapped it at that precise moment with that man in motion before, and he guessed with it and lost.
One of the great linebackers to play in the National Football League, Ricky Jackson.
Having another big year.
Big face mask, too. You feel the bars on that thing?
There's the windshield wiper on it.
I still am fascinated by the fact that he was a teammate of Hugh Green.
Hugh Green.
At Pitt. How did you run the ball in them?
2nd and 3. And Dupree can go nowhere. Massey comes up from the corner, and Vaughn Johnson, the Pro Bowl bound inside linebacker, make the stop.
Another good, solid effort by the New Orleans defense. And they have been tough over the past few weeks. And Saints just unable to untrack their offense, and it has been the New Orleans defense that has held them together.
Well, every time the Rams have been in this situation so far this game, in anything 3rd and 5 or less, they've thrown the ball. And 4 wide receivers in the game right now.
From the 7, it's a timing pattern, and the catch is not made by Derek Faison. Vince Buck covering, and there's the man who caught the fade for the touchdown in the Monday night game 2 weeks ago against San Francisco, but it doesn't work here.
Well, a key here for Vince Buck. On the fade pattern, you've got to get back and somehow play the ball, and that's what he does. He doesn't have his back turned to the quarterback. He turns his back to the receiver and gets a hand in on the ball. That is a brilliant play by number 26, Vince Buck.
He's made several tonight. He's going to be around for a while.
24-yard attempt by Lansford is good after he had missed one from 30 earlier. So the Rams get on the board for the first time in the game with 11:15 remaining in the first half.
And a look at the play by Buck. Faison has the ball. He gets the hand in and flicks it away and saves the touchdown. A great play.
Off for New Orleans, kicks touchbacks almost half the time. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Mike Lansford this season, 61 kickoffs, 3 touchbacks, which means the opposition normally starts in pretty good field position. Gene Atkins from the 3. Past the 30. Lansford can't make the tackle, and finally the stop is made. A touchdown-saving stop by Anthony Newman.
Now, ordinarily, they don't start in that good a field position, but you get the idea. They usually have an opportunity to run the ball back. And if you give it to them often enough, they're going to pop a big one, and the Saints have popped one.
This time it's Gene Atkins, and again, it's just good blocking. There was a missed tackle. Lansford didn't try to wrap up. He just threw his body in, but right now the special teams are hurting the Rams. Remember, it was Vince Buck on a punt return that set up the touchdown pass by New Orleans, and now once again a big return lets the Saints start in Rams territory.
Gil Fenerty is the sole running back in this set from the 47-yard line. This is Fenerty, who broke one for 60 in the meeting in Anaheim 3 weeks ago. Gains 9 here. Newsome and Gray make the tackle. Fenerty out of Holy Cross, drafted by the Saints in '86, chose to play in Italy, then went to the CFL, and he's a local kid, so he talked about coming back home and playing for the Saints, and they said, come on and join us in camp and see what you can do, and here he is.
Boy, big blocks at the point of attack by Steve Trapillo and Stan Brock. Stan Brock having a banner year at right tackle in his 11th year, and one of those guys that every year when the season ends, Jim Mora talks into playing one more year.
2nd and 1. Ironhead Hayward is the sole back in this set. 3 tight end setup. He goes to the weak side and still makes it pay off as he takes it to the 35 for a first down, tackled by Wilcher.
We saw him bull for big yardage a short while ago, and that time you saw the agility of the big man. He weighed about 260 pounds, and he was hit behind the line of scrimmage, bounced off, and got the first down. And that's a big bounce.
Well, he's average. You saw his average there for tonight, up towards 6 yards. For such a big man, he's got a 4.7 yard per carry average so far this season. That's quite an average for a guy that isn't a Barry Sanders type of runner.
League average is 4.1. First down from the 36. Here's Hayward, and that's a little better than average run for him. A 5-yard pickup as he takes it to the 31-yard line with 9:20 to go in the half. Fritz Shurmur looking on as his defense tries to dig in. Rams trail 7-3. Reminder tomorrow, triple header on ABC. Georgia Tech with national championship aspirations. They're number 2, taking on Nebraska. Rose Bowl, Iowa, Washington at 4:45 Eastern, and then right back here, Sugar Bowl tomorrow night, Virginia, Tennessee at 8:30 Eastern. 2nd and 5 from the 31. Here's Gil Fenerty exploiting a hole. Close to a first down. He gets stopped just shy of the 25-yard line. And it is a first down.
Jim Mora getting a lot of production on the ground. And ever since Dalton Hilliard went down in the 6th game, the Saints have been looking for a solid running game. They have used Reuben Mays a lot, Gil Fenerty and Craig Haywood, but Dalton Hilliard with the knee injury and the 1,000-yard rusher of a year ago, the past couple of years. They haven't had him for 10 weeks now.
First down from the 25-yard line. 8:08 to go in the half. Saints lead by 4. Hayward. Well, that's why he doesn't want to hear anybody talk about how much he weighs. He says, just watch what I can do.
Well, this formation by the Saints is not going to win any subtlety awards. I mean, you talk about a running formation, 3 tight ends stacked to one side of the formation and only 1 receiver. And the big man takes it to the right and then cuts back and just plows right over Jerry Gray. Gray doesn't even come close to taking him down, and then he takes Vince Newsome for a ride. Again, look at that run formation. Only 1 receiver in the game. They got to throw it sometime out of that thing.
2nd and 1. This is another first down as Hayward takes the ball to the 12-yard line.
It gets a little tougher down here, but one thing Jim Mora is trying to do, and I don't think he has that total confidence in their quarterback, Steve Walsh, and we talked about at the very outset of the game, a very conservative offense. He's going to try and win it with defense and this kind of offense. High percentage stuff. He's not going to let Walsh throw it into a lot of traffic. He's not going to let Steve Walsh lose the football game. If they're going to lose it, they're going to have to get beat on defense.
No, but I'd throw it sooner or later out of this formation because you're going to have the Rams all at the line of scrimmage. One of those tight ends has to be wide open.
1st and 10 from the 12. One more running play. Picks up 3. Well, there are diminishing returns, if nothing else. Alvin Wright makes the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 7. 6:25 to go, first half. Again, the situation is if New Orleans wins, they go to Chicago on Sunday to meet the Bears in the first round of the playoffs. If they lose, Dallas goes to Soldier Field. Ruben Mays in the game behind Walsh now. 2nd and 7 from the 9. Ruben Mays to the 4. Shy of the first down by 2. Vince Newsom makes the tackle as Mays moved in behind John Tice.
The crowd noise is not a boo. That's their sound for Ruben. Ruben Mays, a real favorite here in New Orleans, a man who's had to battle back from a whole lot of adversity. And imagine this, 3rd and short, and here comes Ironhead.
They have thrown from this formation. The tight end Greg Scales had a touchdown pass last week against San Francisco. Not a bad time for a little play action, but we'll see whether Jim Moore wants to let Steve Walsh put it up.
And that Scales set on the outside wing to the right, but they give it to Hayward, and Hayward should have the first down. He takes it to the 1, and that's good enough for a first.
Again, good second effort by Hayward. He was stopped short at the first down.
They didn't give him the spot all the way to the 1.
No.
About the 1.5, and this is going to be, it looks like he's got it, but if I was going to guess, it's not by more than the length of the football. Well, this is a formation that Woody Hayes would be proud of.
John Robinson would too.
Yeah. Talk about just making a declaration that we are going to control the line of scrimmage. You can bring up another person, you can bring up another back, you can do whatever you want to do to try to take it away from us. But right now we own it.
John Robinson probably thinking that's what we should be doing. But it does a couple of things for you too. It keeps the Rams offense off the football field too. And it keeps those dangerous receivers, Ellard and Anderson, out of the game.
7-3 New Orleans, 4:35 to go in the half. 1st and goal. Jordan and Hayward are the running backs. And this is Hayward for the touchdown.
Nice tight end trap by John Tice. This time, it's New Orleans that executes the tight end trap. There's Tice. He goes in motion. The ball snaps after 2 steps. He gets the quick trap in there on Mike Peel, and Ironhead bangs it in.
All those tight ends go about 250, and they're very effective down close, and good drive on the part of Hayward.
Anderson for the point after. Saints lead by 11, and the big plays tonight have been run backs. The punt return by Vince Buck, the kickoff return by Gene Atkins, setting New Orleans up in good shape. And they lead 14-3, 4:27 to go in the half.
When you start your drive in the other guy's territory, more often than not, good things happen.
4:27 remaining in the half, 14-3 Saints. A win puts them in the playoffs. Anderson kicks to Green at the 7-yard line. And Gaston Green brings it back out to the 22. Buford Jordan in on the stop. Rams begin their drive at that point. 4:17 to go on New Year's Eve in New Orleans. Irvin, Nate Newton, and Eugene Lockhart. Eugene, any advice for the Ram offense at this point?
Say what we can. I tell you what, Al, we expect a lot out of the Rams tonight. We definitely pulling for them here at Cowboy Cafe and everybody here in Dallas.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hello. Hey, Michael Irvin is there. You played with Steve Walsh at Miami. Now he's trying to knock you guys out of the playoffs. A little bit of irony here.
It is. It's not just a little bit of irony. It's a lot of it. And it's a tough situation. I'm happy for Steve, and he's doing pretty good. I'm happy he's doing good. But I do need Steve to pull a favor for me tonight.
All right, guys, we'll check with you in a while as Jim Everett goes back to pass and trips over his own feet. And Ronaldo Turnbull will get credit for his easiest sack of the season, and that's sack number 9 for the rookie.
A very ungraceful-like drop by Jim Everett.
He had a laugh over it.
The worst part is not only do you fall down, but you don't have time to get up, and you know you're going to get trampled because you see this whole wall of humanity moving towards you.
Dan, when you're 6'5", you really fall down.
And you are in a helpless, prone position.
No way you can look graceful.
2nd and 16 from the 15. Marcus Dupree looks for room, settles for a 5-yard gain, takes it out to the 20-yard line. Sam Mills makes the stop with 3:40 to play in the half.
Don Robinson, who I'm sure will go back to a lot more of the running game next year, wanted to take a long look at Dupree, and I don't think he wanted Marcus Dupree thinking during the offseason, well, I wondered whether I really got it or not. Off what we've seen tonight, he's still got the quickness, still got the moves. The jury, of course, is still out on his comeback attempt, but if he does well against the Saints tonight and their defense against the run, well, he can be pretty assured that he is back.
On 3rd and 12, Everett throws. It's caught by Anderson, but the tackle is made short of the first down. Robert Massey, a good bit of work by Massey. He let him make the catch, but he made sure he didn't get that first down.
Well, Massey set up where the first down yardage would have been, and setting up Willie Anderson. He was very short of the first downs. That'll bring up the 4th down, and if they got anything like a fake punt, you might expect something from this formation, but just a bad move by Anderson. He had got to get that upfield to get the yardage.
Here's English to kick. Buck back to receive. Buck from the 34-yard line escapes the first man and then gets down at the 37-yard line. He initially got away from Lattenberry, and then Berry came back to make the tackle. 2:28 left in the opening half. Saints up by 11. Jim Everett and his center Doug Smith going over things as the Rams have been unable to generate much of anything.
Everett was probably telling him, when I fall down, will you please try to not trip over me?
First down, New Orleans from the 37. They lead 14-3. This is Gil Fenerty out to the 40. He picks up 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Saints in no hurry to get the next play off, as they will let it go down to the 2-minute warning. And it's kind of been the story of the season. The Rams starting deep in their own territory for the most part this year. The Saints, because of the runbacks tonight, have started at their own 45 average position for the beginning of a drive. And it's paid off with 2 touchdowns for New Orleans. 2-minute warning. 14-3 Saints. By Tom Benson, and Jim Finks is the key man as the president and general manager, putting the team together, hiring Jim Mora, and he looks on quite anxiously tonight.
A lot of success, not only as an executive in various sports. He was also with the Cubs, but he was a Pro Bowl quarterback one time with the Steelers.
And he was almost the commissioner of the National Football
League. Very
League.
close.
Finished second to Paul Tagliabue in the balloting. 2nd down and 7 for New Orleans from the 40. They lead by 11. 2 minutes to play in the half. Gil Fenerty goes nowhere. Mike Peel in on the tackle, and it will be 3rd down and 11 from the 38-yard line.
And a couple of extra wide receivers in for the Saints. They've been able to control the ball on the ground, and now it's a test just to see how far Jim Mora and Carl Smith, the offensive coordinator, are going to let Steve Walsh go tonight.
3rd and 9 from the 38-yard line.
4 wide receivers. They'll get the man-to-man coverage.
Walsh out of the shotgun. Walsh facing a 4-man rush, gets it away. It's caught at the 45, and Perriman tries to reach the first down area, which is almost the 47, as you can see, and it's going to be very close.
Oh, I saw that ball get yanked back pretty good. You saw Perriman put the ball down on the field, and the official grabbed it and brought it back a good yard. Doesn't appear by where the ball was spotted that he's got the first down.
Perriman coming on the crossing pattern. Walsh looking deep. Perriman pulls up as he sees the zone on the left side. Lost the ball there for a second at the end. The ball is completely gone.
But it appeared, at least to me, the first time I saw it, that he had clean possession of the ball. Let's take a good close look at it again, because I'm sure that's the first thing the replay booth is going to do. Let's make a determination whether or not he had possession. Doesn't have it there, not by... Well, when you look at it in slow motion, it doesn't appear that Brett Perriman ever did have total possession of the football.
They could bring this back.
Yeah, that'll be incompletable.
After review, the pass is ruled incomplete.
Yeah.
We go back to the previous slide. Repeat, and it is.
Well, there is instant replay at its very best. At first indication, when you're away from it, it looks like a good solid catch, and then he just lost it at the last minute. It came right back to him, but you can see that Brett Perriman never did have control of the football.
Chuck Heberling, the replay official. Gordon McCarter, exactly right. If it worked like that all the time, there'd be no controversy.
Well, there are a couple of big names, very prominent names in the world of officiating. I'd like to have that on every game. Take a look at it, make their call, get the game going again.
1:01 to go. The Rams have all of their timeouts remaining when they get the ball back. Tommy Barnhart to kick. Darrell Henley back to receive. Good kick. Henley at the 9. Taken down at the 14-yard line. Nice tackle by Vince Buck, who's had a good run back. He took a touchdown away from Faison, and a nice play right there. Backed by Pat Swilling. As the Rams came to the line off a quick count, Swilling came flying through, and it's a sack and a 9-yard loss, and New Orleans takes a timeout as they have pinned the Rams deep.
Well, this is the second time so far this game as Swilling has just blown upfield. That time he's working against Robert Cox, who's in for Irv Pankey at left tackle. Pat Swilling, great upfield speed, gets the easy sack.
Timeout, Saints. Second down and 20 for the Rams from their own 5-yard line. Pat Swilling, a sack maniac. I guess you'd call him. 11 sacks this season.
Very effective, and the Rams lost to the Saints 3 weeks ago with a couple of sacks in that game, key sacks.
Now the Rams are reduced to trying to give themselves some breathing room as Cleveland Gary takes it to the 11-yard line, and the Saints, very optimistic about getting the ball back, will conserve time as they take another timeout on defense. 39 seconds to play in the first half. New Orleans on top, 14-3. Third down and 12. Los Angeles from the 11-yard line. 39 seconds to play in the half. Saints on top, 14-3.
So their special teams are playing. The Saints would like to force the Rams to punt one more time, and they'd have the opportunity to run one back.
It's a draw to Del Pino. He stopped short of the first down. Saints take a timeout with 34 seconds. Gene Atkins makes the stop, and the Saints will get the ball back. Timeout. Well, we were all very saddened and distressed to learn that earlier today, former Ram coach George Allen died at the age of 72. We have only sketchy details. His son said his father died at home earlier today. George Allen, who coached the Rams, who was an assistant with the Bears, who this past season at the age of 72 had coached Long Beach State to a winning record, has passed away at 72.
So proud of that. What a great man, a great friend, and of course a wonderful coach. He meant so much to this game, and for all of us, we send our best wishes and condolences to his family, particularly his wife Eddie, who has spent so many close years together. You recall those many years you played against this team, Dan?
The way he revitalized the Redskins franchise when he went to the nation's capital, and the ice cream and the team singing and presidents at Redskins practice designing plays. One of the great figures ever in the National Football League.
Truly left his mark. English's kick is off the side of his foot. Takes a New Orleans bounce, gets downed at the 41-yard line by George Bethune, and the Saints will have it after a 24-yard boot, but nary a timeout remaining.
And their strategy has worked well for them. They have a kicker that they are willing to let kick from well over 50 yards. Morton Anderson is fairly accurate from outside the 50, and they don't have to move that ball very far before they can trot him out onto the field.
We'll look back at the season coming up at halftime, and we'll also take a preview look at the playoff games upcoming this weekend as well on our Toyota halftime report. Saints first down, 41-yard line, 25 ticks remaining first half.
You need about 8 or 10 yards would be very nice.
And here come those 8 or 10 yards on a little dump off to Fennerty, who takes it to the 31-yard line.
They got a lot of time. All they have to do is huddle up, kill the ball.
And down the ball right here.
Plenty of time to do it.
From the 31-yard line, Walsh downs it, and that enables Anderson to come on to try to tack on 3.
I guess this will be a 48-yarder.
He's missed. Made everything from 50 except for tonight. He was 3 for 3 into the night. His career best, 55 yards. So he's well within range.
Very aggressive use of the clock by the Saints. Up 14-3, but not content to just going to halftime with that lead. They expended their timeouts, got the ball back. That's good aggressive play by Jim Mora.
Key play was that swilling sack. Once they got him inside the 5-yard line, they could use those timeouts. This is a 48-yard attempt. Barnhart will put it down. The snap is good, but the kick is errant. So Morton Anderson hooks it.
Certainly was not a question of distance. That would have covered close to 60 yards. He just hooked it.
Well, that might have been the problem. Morton might have compensated a little bit too much and put a little too much leg into that. Because he really did hook the ball. This ball never even started out between the uprights. If it did, it was just barely.
Good snap. Good placement.
See, he never even started that ball in between the uprights. You're going to get a natural hook. Boy, and he knew it the minute he hit it. He just didn't hit that thing in the direction that he wanted.
And that ends the first half. Well, the Saints are halfway to Chicago, which would be about what, Memphis?
That's right up I-55.
Right. 14-3. We'll return with halftime activities after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations. They win, or even with a tie tonight, and they lead by 11. It's a short angled kick by Lansford, and it's Ironhead Hayward, normally a blocker on the run back unit, who brings it back from the 18 to the 29-yard line. He is tackled there by Michael Stewart as the Saints will have the ball at the onset of the third quarter.
I think Jim Mora has to be very satisfied with his game plan tonight. It obviously is one of making sure we don't lose this football game. With a young quarterback who came in the 4th game of the season. He's very young, and we're trying to protect him as much as anything, and the numbers relatively close.
Well, you see the Rams have the advantage in total yards, but again, this isn't what's not factored in there are the big kick returns by the Saints. The kickoff return and the punt return both led to the Saints touchdown.
Take the Hayward, and Walsh begins the third quarter with a pass to the 45-yard line to the tight end Hobie Brenner, who played his college ball under John Robinson at USC, and it's a first down for the Saints.
And a good one to open with. A very safe, high percentage pass, little play action. Find the tight end over the middle. Don't keep the ball too long in the air. And it pays off for the Saints, and they get a first down. Speaking of special teams, Dan, don't you think in an emotion-filled game like this, the special teams maybe even more than your offensive defensive unit are going to feel that pressure and rise to it?
Yeah, that's a good point, Frank. Right now, I know one thing. A touchdown by the Saints is really going to challenge the Rams on how much they want to play out the rest of this game. This might be a closer if the Saints could get a touchdown here.
Well, let's see who was guilty here. Hobie Brenner may have been the first man to move, the tight end for the Saints.
Looks like Stan Brock, the right tackle, might have flinched a little bit too.
Both sides, right side of offensive line, 5 yards, still first down.
Both of them.
There's Big Stan, the anchor of this line here in New Orleans for a long time.
It can happen, Dan, even after 11 years.
Yeah, it can. Sometimes after 11 years, it happens more often.
Get a little twitchy in there, huh?
A few of those brain cells have moved on to other places. Too many drive blocks.
First and 15 from the 40. Saints ahead 14-3 early third quarter. This is penalty, but there's no play. There's a delay of game against New Orleans. It's going to cost them another 5 and set up a 1st and 20.
That's one of the few times now Walsh has tried to change the play at the line of scrimmage. He was disgusted with it, and he looked over the sidelines, and Jim Morrow wasn't too happy with it. He's not one for coddling his quarterbacks.
Well, you talk about a penalty for which there is no excuse. I mean, the clock had stopped because of a penalty on the previous play. I mean, you had all the time in the world to get the play in and to run a play. That's inexcusable.
So that graphic 5.9 yards per pass coming in, the lowest in the league among the regular quarterbacks. And he drops the ball. He tried to hand it off, and it's all he can do to cover it back at the 21-yard line. So after a nice beginning to this drive on the pass to Brenner, they've got 2 penalties and a fumble.
I don't think he ever handled the ball pulling away from center.
Yeah, this was no play action. This was going to be a delay up the middle. This was a run all the way. Just poorly executed. Ruben Mays is supposed to be the recipient of the ball, and Walsh has lost control of it. Did it tick Ironhead on the way up? Ironhead was going up to make a block, but Walsh lost control of the ball. Wow.
One of the rare times you will ever see a 2nd and 33, and there's a little shovel pass to Finnerty. He takes it out to the 32-yard line, and that's going to set up 3rd and about 23.
Yeah, and another safe call, throwing the ball underneath of a shovel pass, which is relatively safe and pretty high percentage stuff, instead of taking the ball upfield when the Rams in with the 7 defensive backs. Watch Finnerty coming underneath, a little shovel on the inside. Play designed well, gets good yardage, but with the 7 defensive backs releasing receivers, you're not going to get the major yardage you might on a different situation.
3rd down and 24. They have to get to the Ram 45-yard line to move the sticks. Walsh throws underneath, and it's dropped at the 37-yard line by the normally pretty sure-handed Eric Martin, the Saints' all-time leading receiver. 4th down.
Well, there's a series that started off with some promise by the Saints and disintegrated rapidly. That was about a string of about as bad a 4 or 5 plays as you're going to see. We got 1 shovel pass in there, and that was the glamorous play of the whole set.
2 penalties, a botched handoff, and the net result is a Barnhart punt now.
Toss in a drop ball.
Yep.
Morris said, let me get my defensive team out there fast.
Good kick, taken at the 22 by Henley. And he brings it back to the 32-yard line, and that man again, Vince Buck, is in on the tackle. 11:52 remaining, third quarter. Everett and the Rams trail by 11. Now a look at Jackie Slater in the Rams huddle tonight. Game number 209, all-time Rams record. He and Merlin Olsen had been tied at 208.
And a Pro Bowl year.
Again.
Number 7.
First down Rams from the 32-yard line. Here's Marcus Dupree out to the 33. He is stopped by Robert Massey. Well, we were talking about Jackie Slater at the age of 36 and not thinking of retiring.
And John Robinson doesn't want him to retire. I mean, you stop and think about what an old line we have here. You see the mountain that Jackie Slater has climbed, and Charlie Cowan, Joe Sabelli, Jack Youngblood. 3 out of the 5 offensive linemen, the other 2 defensive linemen. Normally you see a kicker or 2 in a list like that.
Everett goes deep, and Anderson made contact with Toy Cook. No flag, and it's incomplete. Incidental contact.
Good move by Cook, though. He was looking at the ball all the way, playing the football, and they're not going to call that. Anderson wanted it, but he won't get it because the ball was hanging. Now you watch Cook, 41, good coverage. It spun around a little bit. Now he is looking for the football right there all the way, and even got the hands up a little bit. And they won't call that. And he almost got the INT.
Third and 9 from the 33-yard line. Elward in motion. Cleveland Gary seeks 9 yards, has to get to the 42, and does. Though he was pushed back, his forward progress should net him the first. Buck makes the stop.
When he made that initial cut to the sidelines, I thought it was a bad decision. It looked like he was not going to get around the corner, but Cleveland Gary, for a back on the far side of 225 pounds, exhibiting some fine speed to the outside as he broke containment. Right here, when he makes this cut, that dash to the sideline, it's not often that you'll see a back get around the corner, but he did.
And he closed it out well, too. He knew exactly what he needed. Put the head down and got it.
First down at the 42-yard line. Everett to Gary. Gary fumbles the football, but he fumbled it out of bounds. A big break for the Rams. Mills was right there. That's been Gary's problem this season, and Robinson was saying a couple of weeks ago, it normally comes at the end of a run. He doesn't know how to protect the ball at the end of a run.
Actually, Pig Goff was the defensive lineman that came. See number 91? He's the guy that comes in and gets that left hand on the football and knocks it loose. Robert Goff, who prefers to go by the name of Pig. I mean, that's, believe me, we couldn't make that up.
Well, that's what happens when you get the reputation as a fumbler. The second guy in on every tackle is going to try to whack that ball away.
That was Gary's 12th fumble of the year. Now this is Dupree going nowhere. And that's going to set up a 3rd and 11 with 9:45 to go in the third quarter as Gary comes back in. You know, the good news with Gary, the bad news clearly the fumbles, but when you take a look back, the NFL record for a running back who did not return any kicks in a season for fumbles is 14, and he's got some pretty good company. Marcus Allen and Eric Dickerson share that mark, both early in their career.
I wouldn't try to tell that to Cleveland Gary, but he's had a tough year with it.
Yep.
No, but I'd like to hear that guys of that caliber had a problem that I'm having.
3rd and 11, and it's through the hands of the intended receiver, Ellard.
He's made the tough ones all night, and that was right in the hands, right at the first down marker. Not a lot on it, but you would expect Henry Ellard to handle it.
Oh, that ball was perfectly thrown. John Robinson beseeching his guys, let's not give it up. Ellard, see Henry make the break right there at the first down marker, and boy, that's just losing concentration on the ball.
Keith English, a very high, deep kick, good kick. Buck back at the 8. And down at the 16-yard line. Tackle made by Pat Terrell. We have 9:01 to play in the third quarter. The Saints are 24 minutes and 1 second from a trip to Chicago. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf on New Year's Eve at the Superdome.
Happy.
First down, Saints from the 17-yard line. Here's Hayward. Pulls forward out to the 21. Naturally, the Cowboys all hoping that the Rams can mount a comeback here. Michael Irvin among several Cowboys at a watering hole near Dallas. And Michael, what's your capsule analysis of things at this point? What do you think, Michael?
He said, I can't hear a word.
Yep.
I can't hear a word you say.
Okay. Well, we'll check with you in another second here after this play. Second down and 6 from the 21-yard line. Only on New Year's Eve could a balloon
looks like our
float into the picture. Yeah. Walsh has a lot of time. Finally finds a half-open man and still can't get it there to Floyd Turner. And Michael Irvin, let me just ask you to play. Let me ask you to audition to be an analyst. What do you think of the game so far?
Well, I tell you, I think the Saints are looking real good. Unfortunately for all of us Cowboys fans, they are looking real good. You know, we just got to keep hope alive. We just got to keep going and keep pushing it. And hopefully Steve will think about our old friendship and throw a few interceptions.
Right.
I think he's trying.
Pay all old debts.
Say one thing, the thought of getting knocked out of the playoffs doesn't seem to be ruining the party atmosphere in Dallas.
Not on New Year's Eve. Third down and 6. Walsh throws. Is the catch made? Rams say no, and so do the officials. No catch by Turner. He trapped it up at the 35-yard line.
Walsh got in a lot of trouble and then was able to get out of it, but again, not a bad throw. Trying to get it into a receiver. It's pretty well covered over the middle.
Steve Walsh, and Frank, jump in here, but I mean, really strikes me as a quarterback that does not look comfortable with what's happening down on the field. I mean, he had pretty good protection. He left before he had to leave, and I thought he could have thrown the ball before he left. He had some guys open.
I think maybe even more uncomfortable with Steve Walsh is his coach, Jim Mora.
Yeah.
He's really trying to protect him tonight.
Barnhart's kick takes a Saint bounce, and it will be down to the 36-yard line. Make it the 35. No, you can't do that. 7:46 left in the third. Saints still by 11. There in the mist is Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints. He'd like to do that Benson boogie tonight.
Also the owner of about 25 automobile dealerships here in Louisiana. A lopsided beach ball.
Rams take over at the 35-yard line, and Marcus Dupree gets banged back by Sam Mills. Well, as the saying goes, don't touch that dial, because tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, number 2 ranked Georgia Tech taking on Nebraska. Florida Citrus Bowl from Orlando. Then from Pasadena, 4:45 Eastern time, it's Iowa, champs of the Big Ten, or Washington, champs of the Pac-10 in the Rose Bowl. Then the USF&G Sugar Bowl tomorrow night. We'll be right back here. Virginia, Sean Moore will start against Tennessee at 8:30 Eastern to wrap up the day and night. On second down, Flipper Anderson makes the catch and pays the price, but also paying a bit of the price was Brett Maxey, who was covering on the play.
Oh, but a great pass by Everett right in the seam of the zone. And you'll see Vince Buck pass on Anderson right there. And now coming across is Massey, gets there a little late because Everett has the strong arm and fired it right into the seam.
It's the only way that pass works, is if the safety is a little tardy in arriving, and it is a great shot by Brett Maxey, but a lot of that, I think, thrown out of frustration because he knew he was just a couple steps late in arriving.
First and 10 from the 39-yard line. And intended for Ellard, but broken up by the cornerback, Toy Cook. Nice play.
Well, Cook with great coverage on that, man for man. Got himself in a one-on-one situation against one of the best receivers in the game. Look at him, reads the eyes, not even looking at the passer. When Ellard makes the move to the outside, that's when he looks back and picks up Everett and picks up the ball. That's a great play.
Well, we have seen some nice plays by the Saints corners tonight, with some excellent coverage on these Ram receivers.
Well, they got a young one coming up that looks awfully good out there too. Number 26, Vince Buck. He's made some great plays tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if they can afford to get him off special teams.
Gary on second and 10 fights his way for some extra yardage, and a flag goes down at the end of the play. Gary took it to the 34.
Well, there were 6 Saints surrounding Cleveland Gary. I think it's going to be pretty difficult for that call to go against Gary.
Face mask.
That's how Gary gets into those situations where he loses the football. He is always scrambling and trying to get that extra inch.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty, number 26 defense. 5 yards, second down.
Just great second effort on the part of Gary, breaking tackles and got himself entangled with half a dozen Saints, and also draws the face mask foul. Gary's learning the hard way that in the arms of one tackler, the next man in or the next 2 or 3 are going to go for that football.
Second and 1. Gary again has the first down, takes it to the 25-yard line. He's wrestled down there.
See him covered up then?
Toy Cook makes the stop. John Robinson, we mentioned at the top, and you've been reading about it, I'm sure, over the weekend. A lot of speculation about his future, and that was ended when Georgia Fronteri, the owner of the Rams, announced last week Robinson would indeed be back next year. In fact, they will extend his contract, and he will have more say in terms of the draft, Plan B, and the rest.
They probably see a lot more of John Robinson football, and that is a lot of running the football.
1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Eller takes it at the 15 and gets to the 5, loses the football. Loose at the 8.
I think the Saints have it out.
They do.
Gene Atkins was on the coverage, and he was slow getting up. And was it Mills who comes away with it?
Gene Atkins gave the impression that he was hurt. Quickly, the New Orleans doctors and trainers ran out onto the field. Mills is being accompanied off the field. Atkins is being helped off the field. Henry Ellard fighting for extra yards. He initially fights off the 2 hits, but it looked like Atkins' hand kind of pulled his arm down and stripped the ball away.
Atkins, number 28, came in as the second man to hit Ellard.
Atkins forced it. Mills recovered it. Ellard and the offense back to the bench, and the Saints take over at their own 9-yard line.
Now, that's just one of those deals where extra effort got a guy in trouble. If Henry Ellard just falls down, nothing happens, but there's a guy trying to make something happen for his club, trying to break a tackle, trying to get some extra yardage, and ends up coughing up the football. You feel badly for a player like that.
The helmet just colliding, the helmet of Gene Atkins colliding with the football, and out it comes. And here comes the man they call the field mouse. He's always scurrying around out there, Sam Mills.
And you can hear the groan all the way from Dallas. 2nd and 8, 4:40 to go, 3rd quarter. Saints lead 14-3. Reuben Mays cannot get out of the backfield. Tackled by Michael Stewart.
Crowd getting a little restless with the tactics of Jim Moore, and we talked about it all night long, how he is making sure that his young quarterback is not going to lose the football game. He's already watched his defense make superb efforts a moment ago, taking the ball away from Ellard.
Jim Moore glancing up at that clock. Look at those eyeballs going up there. It is not moving fast enough.
Isn't this a year we advance it by a second?
Yep. If he had the old fast forward button, we'd be well into the 4th quarter by now.
That's right. It's the wrong night for Moore and the leap second.
Yes.
3rd and 10 from the 9. Walsh to Fennerty. He has to get to the 19. A flag is thrown. He's run out of bounds at the 18, and we've got 3 flags on the play. Holding against the Saints, which the Rams you would think would decline. And that'll make it 4th and 1. And John is declining the penalty.
Illegals walking it back, number 80, offense, penalty declined, 4th down.
Well, that called on Brett Perriman, the wide receiver.
You're not going to argue a call when 3 officials see it.
No. Here we're looking at it from the other side of the field. Fennerty running with the ball. See Perriman there to the right. He came in and just made contact.
Put those hands on the back, though. That's a no-no.
Yep. Bobby Humphrey was the defensive back that was hit by Perriman, but it really didn't matter. The Saints didn't pick up the 1st down yardage anyway.
Barnhart to punt. Henley calls for the fair catch. And the Rams will begin their next drive from the 37-yard line after a 44-yard Barnhart kick. Looking and hoping in Dallas. 3:07 to go in the 3rd. New Orleans 14-3. What, about 9 o'clock Central Time? So the new year is still 3 hours away. A little early celebrating in the Superdome, where the full house looking on has watched their Saints maintain an 11-point lead.
I know one thing, this game better be over by midnight, because you're supposed to kiss somebody at midnight.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in this booth.
And I'm out of here if that happens.
I'll second that motion as Everett throws, and it is picked off at the 40-yard line. Brett Maxey.
Maxey picked one off 3 weeks ago and took it in for a touchdown. A 50-yard touchdown, and now Maxey is shaken up.
Boy, that's Jim just trying to throw a touch pass, throw it over one defender and in front of another, and just got a little too much on it.
They may review this one here.
Kenny Wolf, our producer, is telling us from the truck that this may be a trap. Let's see. That's a trap.
Yes.
That's a trap. That's not an interception.
And he never even controlled it.
And they're cheering in Dallas. And John Robinson knows that this one will not be an INT.
Brett Maxey did it too.
A very, very good look at, you see the ball down. That's not even close. So the Rams will retain possession.
Gordon McCarter, the referee, the umpire, Ben Montgomery in contact with Chuck Heberling upstairs. And
you notice the Saint defensive team still standing out there. I think some of them saw it as well.
The last play is being reviewed.
Well, this is amazing that it's taking this long to get the decision down to Gordon McCarter.
After review, the last play is ruled an incomplete forward pass. Go back to the previous spot, second down.
Crowd obviously doesn't like it, but that ball was never even handled. It wasn't dropped, it just never controlled it. John Robinson, he had it down all the way.
well, we asked John today how the Rams would vote in terms of retaining replay. He thought, well, we'd probably vote for it. Now they will definitely vote for it.
Well, this game's not over yet.
Right.
Pat Swilling, he's on the way to the Pro Bowl also.
Yep.
Yeah, the second consecutive year for Pat Swilling. Vaughn Johnson, number 53, one of their inside linebackers that doesn't get a whole lot of publicity. He's going to the Pro Bowl as well.
Swilling a bad ad for training camp. He hasn't been to the last two.
2nd and 10. Cleveland Gary. A flag is thrown. That normally means holding at the 46-yard line. That is the call. And while they march off this penalty and Everett moves back, this is the final game of the regular season.
Number 56 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
That's Doug Smith. NFL leaders this year: Barry Sanders edges Thurman Thomas in the rushing department. Ernest Biner led the league in carries. Randall Cunningham amazingly averaged almost 8 yards a rush. On the ground, Fenner and Gary each with 14 touchdowns this season. So overall, Sanders scored 16, the lead in total touchdowns. Kelly led in passing, Schrader in yards per pass, Moon in yardage and in touchdowns as well. Flipper Anderson makes the catch on a 2nd and 20. They've held Anderson pretty much in check tonight. Flipper, you'll recall last year, 15 receptions for an unbelievable 336 yards in one night. And there he is, the only other name on that graphic beside Rice, who led the league in yards per reception, Willie Anderson.
Well, Everett came in here tonight with some pretty good goals in view. He needed 301 yards for a second consecutive 4,000-yard season. One touchdown pass to reach 100 in his 65th game. Hasn't got either yet.
3rd and 12, and the Saints jump off. And there's no play at all. The play was whistled dead by McCarter.
I think it's a false start on Jackie Slater, the right tackle. Do you see him hitch that leg back?
False start, 78 offense.
Well, that's one of the problems with being an offensive lineman. I mean, you can't move anything. There's Slater, who does nothing more than just drop that right leg back. Here's Slater right here. Take a look at his left leg, his right leg rather. Watch it. See, that's it. I mean, that's a false start.
You can't even lift that left toe like he did there.
No, you can't. It doesn't matter if you get a chance to reset yourself or not. That's a false start. Automatic 5-yard.
Get the hiccups, you're in a lot of trouble.
That's why there aren't many volunteers to play offensive line.
It's man bites dog news. A pair of penalties on Smith and Slater on the same drive, and on 3rd and 17, Anderson wants a flag and doesn't get it. It's simply good defense by Robert Massey.
They ain't playing very close defense tonight. We've seen it on Toy Cook's part. They play the ball, and they certainly make it look like they're playing the ball, and they get that incidental contact, and they don't get the flag. Massey trying to play right through the receiver.
Yeah, Willie's saying, granted he timed it pretty good, but I thought he got there before the ball. I mean, the thing is, though, if it takes slow motion to determine whether or not he got there early, pretty good defense.
Keith English, good kick, fielded at the 24 by Vince Buck. And Terrell is the first man to hit him at the 28-yard line. Ball came loose and was recovered, in fact, by Buck himself. And there is a penalty flag.
Illegal block in the back. Number 52 receiving team during the return. 10 yards to the dead ball spot. First down.
Brian Ford. Go back and take a look at that last play now. Again, the replay on the Anderson situation.
Robert Massey is number 40, and there's Anderson. I mean, you can see that when we show it to you in super slow motion that Massey does put a shoulder into Anderson when the ball's about 2 feet away, but in actual speed, that's almost undetectable.
Here's Reuben Mays on 1st and 10 from the 18. Struck it out to the 28-yard line with 1:22 left in the 3rd, and New Orleans on top by 11.
New Orleans hanging in there with a little over a minute to go in the 3rd quarter, and this is a team that started at 2-5 during the course of the year. They never got to the 500 mark. They came close. They've never won more than 2 games in a row, and they win tonight. At 8-8, they'll go to the playoffs. Now, you can call that parity or mediocrity, but for these players, it means an awful lot, and the same goes for what's happening in Dallas tonight.
What would you call it if Dallas went to the playoffs at 7-9?
I won't have to bother. There'll be other people who handle it for me. But to the players, again, this is what they shoot for. They came to camp in August, and here they are approaching a new year and still in there.
Measurement showed that they were inches shy, 2nd in inches.
Well, I know one thing. Either New Orleans or Dallas doesn't get much of a break. They get an all-expense paid trip to Soldier Field in Chicago in January to play the Bears.
But then again, they're facing a team that has not been playing particularly well.
No, they've had quarterback problems. Jim Harbaugh hurt. Mike Tomczak has been quarterbacking the club.
Hayward picks up the 1st down as he takes it to the 30.
Talking to Troy Cook, the quarterback of the Saints, and said, well, if you make it, what about Chicago? And he said, oh, we match up really well with them. He said, do you match up with the weather? Play your games indoors, and you're just not quite sure what you're going to have when you move into Soldier Field in January.
1st and 10. New Orleans rather conservative tonight, per usual. Almost a 2-to-1 ratio, runs to passes. From the 30, their 14th pass of the game is bobbled, and then if the defensive back, Gray, would have looked around, he might have had an interception.
Well, Ironhead tried to make a great play. I mean, that's just a terrible pass by Walsh.
He's put some ugly ones up there tonight.
He has. And you don't want to be too tough on the kid, but I mean, this is a sensational effort by Ironhead.
You know, he came in the 4th week of the season. He had to learn an entirely new system. All the numbers, all the terminology was different, and that's got to get you off to a shaky start. Came in his first game, played well, and he's just struggled ever since, dealing with a whole lot of things that he didn't have a chance to go in camp with. He's young to begin with. It's just all different for him. And they paid a tremendous price for him, though.
All Gray could do is think about breaking up that play. He couldn't think interception. That's the final play of the quarter. Gil Fenerty stopped for a loss of 1. So the Saints are 15 minutes now from a trip to Chicago. They have an 11-point lead as we go to the fourth quarter, and we now go live to Dick Clark in Times Square in New York, followed by a word from our ABC stations. Take it away, Dick. Well, you know, everybody gives out awards at the end of the year. Why don't we? Player of the year in the NFL. I'm gonna vote for Montana, only because I don't want to take him for granted.
How about Jerry Rice? I think I'll go with him. He has kept him in there when Joe was struggling.
Barry Sanders. Best running back in the league.
Yeah, Barry Sanders.
There we are on the same page. Third and 11 as Walsh's pass is tipped and incomplete. All right, coach of the year. I'd go with Art Shell. He's done a remarkable job in a very quick period of time.
But since you took him, I'll take Marty Schottenheimer. He's done a great job with Kansas City getting them back in the playoffs.
I hate to do this, but I'll take Marty Schottenheimer as well.
Okay.
2-1, Al.
2-1.
You have to leave now.
Rookie of the year.
Mark Carrier.
I agree with you.
He's got more interceptions than the entire New Orleans team.
The Chicago safety. You going to go with an offensive lineman?
Richmond West.
That's what I thought. You're out of here.
Miami Dolphins. We'll see him.
Who's that?
We'll see him Saturday afternoon.
Yep. On 4th and 11, Tommy Barnhart to punt. This is Henley at his own 21. Back out to the 32-yard line where Ernest Spears makes the tackle. And the Rams will take over with 14:45 to go in the fourth quarter. Saints 14, LA 3. I get the feeling that's not drawn to scale.
Al, looking exceptionally large in the middle there.
Well, we all know about your diet, Dan, but that's ridiculous.
That's something that might help you get into a smaller bag.
First down from the 32-yard line.
And it's not one of my credit cards.
All you do is make it tough for Eller, and he'll give you a great play.
Henry Ellard runs the out pattern and stays in.
You'll probably look at it again, but this is a great catch by Ellard. Total concentration and a great pass by Everett. Over the short man and in front of the deep man.
Nicely done.
So Ellard, who coughed up the ball the last time he made a reception deep in New Orleans territory, catches his 5th ball of the night. And Dupree takes the ball across the 50 and down to the Saints 48-yard line.
Well, that's one of the things John Robinson looks for, and a good display of making sure he had that ball covered up on the part of Marcus Dupree. He hasn't done anything sensational tonight, but he's going against a very tough defense. And John Robinson said, look, if he makes 60 tonight against this team, we know he's back. We know we've got a runner. If he made 150 against a weaker team against the run, we wouldn't know. But we will both know after tonight. And he likes what he's seen tonight.
2nd and 5 from the 48. Everett pump faking, going deep, has Anderson open, and Flipper scores. The scene in Dallas. And back in New Orleans where Flipper Anderson from 47 yards out makes it 14-9 pending the extra point.
Oh, we've been praising the rookie, Vince Buck. He bought a little move underneath on the part of Anderson. Anderson just blew by the rookie, and a great pass by Everett. Watch him, a little quick move to the inside, and Buck just bought that thing all the way, and that was all he needed to get wide open and a beautifully thrown ball.
I'll tell you what else he bought, Frank. He was looking all the way through to the quarterback, and Everett gave him the pump. And that's what throws Vince Buck. The pump came at the same time as the move, and boy, that just throws him solid.
That kick doesn't count because the play was whistled dead.
Oh, and that kind of big play is what worries Jim Mora. Rams can score literally from anywhere on the field with their 2 outside men, Ellard and Anderson.
Offside, defense, point after is good, 5 yards on the kickoff.
But the kick does count. 14-10.
Let's go ahead and look at that touchdown again if we could. And let's take a look at what Vince Buck is seeing when he looks into the backfield. There's that pump by Jim Everett, and that freezes the corner and allows Flipper Anderson into the wide open spaces. And things have tightened up in NO.
Remember, just throwing his 100th career touchdown pass, and in the history of the league, only Dan Marino and John Unitas got to 100 quicker, and Everett got there at the same time Dave Craig of Seattle did, 65 games into their careers. He's also the third player in the history of the league with 300 or more completions 3 straight years, as the kickoff comes down to the 16-yard line, and this is Gene Atkins with another good run back up to the 45. And just to complete the Everett story, Dan Marino and Dan Fouts are the other 2 quarterbacks 3 years in a row to throw 300 or more completions.
As we have been seeing all night long, the New Orleans kick return teams, whether it be kickoff return or punt return, have been exceptional.
Well, they need it because this unit has been, with the exception of a good drive in the second quarter, as they've been really struggling.
Nothing new, though. The Saints defense is the only reason they are in a position to go to the playoffs in the final game of the season.
Fake the Hayward, and Walsh swings it out, and that's incomplete. The errant pass intended for Greg Scales. Well, they're not going Reuben here. That's booing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. And Jim Morris says, what am I supposed to do about it? Now, he did pull Walsh last week and went with 4K for a while, and then put Walsh back into the game, and Walsh, after the game, really expressed a lot of displeasure with the fact that he was removed. Jim Morris said he'll have to get over it.
I don't think Morris cares whether he expressed it or not.
2nd and 10. Finnerty goes next to nowhere, stopped by Larry Kelm.
Who's again a low rumble here in the stadium. That's Carl Smith, the offensive coordinator, who is taking most of the heat down here for the lack of the offensive put out of this offensive unit. But Steve Walsh, they gave a first and a third in '91 in the draft to Dallas for him, and a conditional second round in '92 that could go as high as the number 1.
Meanwhile, the Saints have ended each drive with a punt and are in danger of a 5th consecutive series ending in a punt here unless they can convert on 3rd and 8. Walsh drops it off underneath for Finnerty, and he gets the first down to the 40 of Los Angeles.
Oh, that's great running there.
Big play.
2 or 3 Rams had a good shot at Finnerty. He doesn't have great speed, but he has a wonderful style and a good quick little move and a cutback. Now let's take a look again, and Moore has Walsh going in underneath. And here comes Newsom. He misses flat. He doesn't even get a hand. And again, just good running on the part of Finnerty to keep that drive alive. Now mentioned that he had a 60-yard run against the Rams for a touchdown 3 weeks ago.
1st and 10 at the 40, and Walsh has to take a timeout. Some confusion as to how they were going to line up. Perriman and Martin went to the same side.
Well, with Walsh, the one thing he does, he gets the play in, but he has to call the formation, and they have to use a timeout.
11:44 to go. 11:44 to play. Superdome, New Orleans. If the Saints win or tie, they go to Chicago to meet the Bears on Sunday in the first round of the playoffs. If the Rams come from behind and win, Dallas goes to Chicago. It's that simple. 14-10 Saints. First down New Orleans at the LA 40 after a New Orleans timeout. Steve Walsh gives the ball to Reuben Mays, and he goes nowhere. Mike Peel, the 3rd-year defensive end out of Illinois, stops him for a 4-yard loss.
This is where the New Orleans offense, as they bring it into tonight's game, their tactics and their strategy really gets in trouble when you get in 2nd and long situation. You can, first of all, figure you could get a rare blitz from the Los Angeles Rams. They don't do that much of it, but they got a quarterback that they are actually afraid to let him put the ball down for first down yardage. They'll throw something underneath, they'll do a reverse or something, but at least that's been the pattern all night long. And that's tough when you're playing that way.
2nd and 14 at the LA 44. Rams blitz. Walsh gets flushed out, throws, and it's incomplete. Juggled and then almost picked off. Floyd Turner, who scored a touchdown earlier, couldn't hang on. Covering on the play, Vince Newsom.
Well, that time Walsh has to move out of the pocket and make something happen, and it's actually a pretty doggone good pass. I mean, that's just right where it had to be, and Turner's lucky that that wasn't intercepted. But Steve Walsh, who's struggling a little bit, is not getting a whole lot of help from his receiver.
I don't be picky, but I haven't seen a spiral yet.
Well, that may not have been pretty, but that certainly should have been fun.
3rd down, 14 from the 44. 4-man rush. Walsh goes a wobbler, caught at the 37-yard line by Eric Martin, but stopped well short of the first down, and in fact short enough so that Mora will probably punt instead of opt for an Anderson field goal attempt.
Again, you go with the high percentage pass, something underneath. Mora obviously looking for the completion and then hoping that Martin, who is a pretty good runner after he gets the football, is going to break something and get up close enough for the first down or even a Mortensen field goal attempt, but they don't get it.
So Tommy Barnhart to pooch punt it in all probability.
Well, at 4th and 5, you really can't fault the Saints for going ahead and punting.
Yep. Because if they miss the field goal, the Rams would take over at their own 36. And the Saints are going to let the clock run down. In fact, the Rams, you would think, would decline the penalty here, because what the Saints want to do is have Barnhart back up and give more of an angle.
Exactly, Al, and had they got the 5-yard penalty on an offsides, they might have brought Mortensen out onto the field.
And that's exactly what John Robinson is telling his team to do.
Delay of game penalty against the offense. However, the 5 yards is declined. It is still 4th down.
I mean, that would be what, a 53-yarder by Morten Andersen?
Right.
He has a 52 this year.
Yep. But yeah, as I said, the problem is if you miss it, the Rams are going to start pretty close to midfield. Barnhart. Perfect. And it's caught by a Saint at the 8. Brett Maxey.
That's the way you work on it from the first day of training camp. You just don't see it executed very often.
It fits right in the way with Jim Mora is playing this game. Don't let your offense lose the football game and hope that your defense can hang in there against a very explosive offensive unit and win it for you.
Rams start at the 8. Playoff starts Saturday. Both Saturday games here on ABC. 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific Saturday. Washington against Philadelphia from Veterans Stadium in Philly. Followed by the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami at 4 Eastern time Saturday. First down LA from the 8-yard line. Everett tries to hit Ellard on an out, but he's out. Incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Henry Ellard almost ran over our Billy Edwards, didn't he?
Billy Edwards.
Come on, Henry, take it easy.
Well, Billy might hammer Ellard.
I mean, Billy's, what, 97 years old? You can't be having a guy running over. Oh, look at
Give a shot, Billy.
Oh, Billy with the orange sleeves. I'll take it easy, Billy. That's a high-priced player.
One of our favorite people, Billy Edwards.
Yeah. Must be a big crowd here from Annapolis, Maryland.
Keep your eye on the field. Here is Cleveland Gary picking up just 2 to the 10. It's 3rd down and 8.
There's no question that John Robinson will let Everett go upfield with it. Just a question of how far. He'll let him throw it out from there. Anything he wants to. Of course, they're not playing with the same stakes. This is everything for the Saints. Rams just trying to get this season over with.
Rams have converted only 3 of 11 third down opportunities tonight on 3rd and 8. Everett going deep for Anderson, broken up at the 45-yard line. The pass hung, and Vince Buck was the guy who was there.
Tried to isolate Buck once again, but this time Buck had deep help, and so he could play it a lot tighter, and he was there for the deflection.
He was aided, though, by the fact that the ball was underthrown. Flipper Anderson is going to have to break his stride. You see him even slow down almost to a halt to try to come back for the football.
Keep that name in mind. Vince Buck, you're going to hear a lot of it.
He's back to receive the kick. Keith English to punt for L.A. The rush is on. It's a wobbly end-over-end bouncer. There's a flag down. Buck from the 50. And Buck is run out of bounds at the 37. There's a flag at the line of scrimmage.
A little tussle on the sidelines. A great move by Buck. And that was a tough ball to field. I mean, it was a tough chance.
Ineligible man downfield.
Well, the Saints are going to want that football right where Buck put it.
You better believe it.
But a lot of deep men would let that ball bounce. And Buck, a rookie, played the short hop on it and brought it back inside the 40-yard line of the Rams. Good-looking football player. Second-round draft pick. They couldn't hide him at Central State in Ohio.
Ineligible downfield, number 57, kicking team. Penalty declined, first down.
George Bethune. 8:45 remaining in regulation.
There's Buck covering up the football, breaking tackles, spinning away.
And he objected to the hit by Michael Stewart right up alongside the head. That's what starts that scuffle on the sideline. But again, the Ram defense put in a tough position, starting with their backs against the wall.
Finnerty, gain of 1. And again, that New Orleans special teams operation paying dividends. Joe Marciano is their special teams coach.
And they have been exemplary tonight. Fabulous.
The difference. Second and 9 at the 37-yard line.
This team rocketing along.
Walsh, he's got Martin open and can't get it to him. Martin's open by 10 yards.
Difficult to find the receiver more wide open than Eric Martin was there and have it result in an incomplete pass. Tough to do.
I know Jim Morris thinking about moving into the playoffs this year, but again, let's watch Eric Martin, top of your screen. Puts a good move to the inside. He is a real fine receiver. Lattenberry bought it all the way, and Steve Walsh had plenty of time to get the football there, but you wonder what Jim Morris is thinking about the future. They have mortgaged an awful lot to get this young man. A couple of 1s, 1 and a 3 in the 91 draft, and a 2 in the 92 draft.
Third down and 9, and it's an inside handoff on a delay to Finnerty, and he gets the first down. The local kid out of Holy Cross who chose to play in Italy instead of signing with the Saints initially has come back home and turned in 2 very big third down plays tonight.
He's a natural runner. He makes the good quick moves. He makes people miss. He doesn't have that breakaway speed, but look at the body is moving, and there he plants the left foot, breaks it back inside, and Vince Newsom is going to be seeing him in his dreams tonight. He's had a couple of shots at him and never even touched him yet.
First and 10 at the 26. Clock down to 7:05 in the 4th. Saints up by 4. Here's Finnerty again, and he runs into his own man at the 25-yard line. He ran into and over Steve Trapillo.
If Finnerty doesn't go down over the top of Trapillo on that play, he's picking up at least another 10 yards.
Finnerty tonight, key man, and again he had that big run against the Rams. Seeing more and more action this season, especially after the injury to Dalton Hilliard and the fact that Ruben Mays has really been unable to get himself regenerated.
Well, there's a guy coming into tonight averaging 5 yards a carry. He's not a plotter.
Second and 8. Walsh gets hit as he throws. Reaching in from behind was Brett Farinez to break the play up. Third down.
I don't think you could fault Steve Walsh there. He felt the pressure and just got rid of that for the incompletion.
Yeah, we got hit throwing.
Well, they're at the 24-yard line, so they are clearly within Anderson field goal range here. Third and 8 upcoming.
It's still a field goal. Just makes it a 17-10 game. But the interesting part about that is that a tie actually serves New Orleans as well as a win.
But
a tie means you have to go through 15 minutes of overtime.
exactly. And there hasn't been a game this season in the NFL that ended in a tie. Walsh throws, and it's nearly picked off. And if Jerry Gray had picked that one off, he had nothing but green in front of him.
Well, again, the yardage would not have been enough for the first down. And there was nothing on that football. That just hung up there. And when Jerry Gray was laying off 4 or 5 yards, can get back into that, almost pick it off for 6. Well, you understand why Jim Morrow doesn't like his young quarterback putting it to the outside that often.
41-yard attempt upcoming for Anderson, who for the first time this season has missed 2 in a game tonight. Barnhart to put it down. And Morton's kick this time is true. Through and true. 6:08 remaining in regulation as the Saints stretch it to 17-10. So New Orleans hopeful of getting into the playoffs for the second time in the history of the franchise, and certainly hopeful that if they do, they will meet with slightly more success than in their only other appearance in postseason play following the 1987 regular campaign when they were bombed by Minnesota in a wild card game here. Well, Eugene Lockhart, the linebacker for the Cowboys, sum it up for us, Eugene. What do you think? Well, it's too loud in the barn. Eugene, what do you think at this point? Summation from you.
I can't hear you.
What do you think? Just give us your thoughts at this point.
Well, it looks kind of dim right now at this point, but, you know, it's like Jesse Jackson said, we're going to keep hope alive, and until the final gun blows, we're still in it.
Okay. We'll check back with you as the Cowboys and their supporters look on all over the Metroplex.
You know, what's happening right now is just indicative of this entire Saints season. All the pressure is on their defensive team to win the game for them. In the last 6 games the Saints have played, their offense has only scored 20 or more points once. I mean, 5 of those 6 games, it's been fewer than 20-point output. And again, here we are. They're sitting on 17 and hoping that their defense can make that hold up to be a winner. All season long, the pressure has been on the defensive team for the Saints, and that they have a shot to get into the playoffs on the final game of the season is indicative of how well they played.
Gaston Green, a yard in the end zone. Brings it back out to the 19.
Once again, Morton Anderson, he's quite a weapon. Not only a great field goal kicker on his way to the Pro Bowl, but as we talked about earlier, that time he didn't get the touchback, but he hung that ball way up there and gave his team that time to get down under it. And even though the run was out over the 25-yard line, out over the 15-yard line, is short of what you'd get with the touchback. I'd say he is a weapon.
Well, this would be a good weekend for Morton Anderson. If the Saints should win this game and go to the playoffs, that's 1+. Yesterday, his restaurant got about $400,000 worth of free advertising.
At least. First down from the 19. Catcher's made by Holohan. Up at the 26-yard line, under 6 minutes to play. Johnson and Massey in on the stop.
Rams playing without a couple of key members of their passing unit underneath, and that would be Buford McGee, went out with a broken bone in his hand earlier, in the wrist earlier. Damone Johnson couldn't go tonight, the tight end. We'll actually use both of them underneath. Damone Johnson out with a hamstring.
And they're also playing without one of their key offensive linemen, Tom Newberry. Second down and 3 at the 26. Short gain for Robert Del Pino. He takes it to the 28. And this is a very big play for the Saints to stop now, because it's going to be 3rd and 1. John Forcade, who started the season as the #1 quarterback. And again, Bobby Hebert will sit out the entire season, as it turns out. The holdout opted not to sign. They couldn't trade him. He's been at home all year.
We've seen John Forcade starring in the best of times and the worst of times. Remember, we were here as the Saints beat the Philadelphia Eagles and knocked them out of the playoffs last year. And then we saw Fourcade early, beginning of this season, the first game against the 49ers, look about as bad as the quarterback could look.
3rd and 1, and Delpino gets stopped by Toy Cook. Toy Cook makes a sensational play, but where are they going to spot it? It looked like he stopped him short of the first down. This is a critical placement here. I thought Cook had him stopped short of the first down, but where they put the ball down, he's got it, and he does. Wow.
That's a bad mark. That was very clear, and Cook is really upset with it, but that was a great effort. He took away the big man's momentum and kept him what appeared to be short of the first.
The mark's at the 29-yard line. Well, I didn't see that. Delpino didn't appear to get anywhere near the first down marker.
They are reviewing it. I mean, this is a tough one to review.
I didn't think you could review this.
I didn't think so either.
It was reviewable. That is what I think they are sorting out.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is a reviewable play. I mean, this is.
I thought it was plays of possession,
right?
The boundaries of the field, the goal line,
or a change of possession,
or a change.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yep.
I was not aware that this was reviewable. Well, maybe it is.
Yeah, because under any other circumstance, under any other circumstance, they would never review something like. They'd only review it in a critical situation, the spot of the ball.
Well, I mean, we have seen them use replay. I mean, here is the 39-yard line right along here. You can see Delpino here already has the ball, and there is the hit by Cook. Now, from this angle, now keep in mind our camera is ahead of the actual line of scrimmage. Our camera is not shooting right down the 29-yard line, but boy, it certainly appears that he did not attain first down yardage.
Assuming it's reviewable, which we understand, they are telling us it is. I don't know how you can conclusively say it was or it wasn't.
Yeah, I think that's why you so seldom ever see it reviewed.
Right.
I can't recall ever having seen this reviewed. Can
either of you?
No,
I haven't.
After review, forward progress has been determined to be the 28-yard line. We will move the ball back. It will be fourth down.
Wow.
For me.
Boy, I tell you.
I'm not sure that John Robinson would vote for replay now.
Yeah, you're right.
He already cast his vote in the first half.
Right. Upon further review, he's changed his decision.
Oh, he wants it explained to him right there.
Yeah. How in the world is that conclusive? That's what I want to know.
Again, where's our camera that was, maybe Kenny Wolf could tell us, our camera with the replay on it was located what, at the 40-yard line? Right at the 50-yard line, so we're angling back. And how you can say that's conclusive, even though it looks that way, with this angle.
Here's the look that we're getting from my telestrator camera. I mean, to me, it appears that he never got to the 29-yard line. I mean, his feet appear to be on the 28. And when you get into the argument as to whether or not that is conclusive, quite obviously Chuck Heberling thought it was conclusive.
Yep.
John might be recalling what he told us today, that he would vote for the replay once again.
Well, meanwhile, the Rams, faced with a 4th and 1, are going to go for it.
And everyone in Dallas is holding their breath.
4th and 1 from the 28-yard line, and Everett's going to throw for it, and it is Holohan who makes it. And where are they going to spot this one? At the 29 and a quarter, and that's a first down.
And that is a fine spot if you're a Rams fan.
And Robinson says, let's go without a huddle. Let's save the timeouts. 3.5 minutes to go.
Well, that was a good spot. He was up there. And the contact drove him back.
But his feet aren't there. Now, maybe the ball is, but Holohan's feet aren't there. His feet are at the 29.
Oh, they're going to review this.
Well, guess what they're going to do now?
I think they're making this up as they go along here. I can't recall in the 5 years of instant replay ever seeing a spot reviewed.
Nor can I.
Nor can I.
We've seen 2 of them in a row.
A spot under these circumstances.
You'd look at every play if you did this.
Yeah.
Why does this always
fourth
happen
down run or
Why do these things happen on Monday night?
Yeah.
That's my question.
because we're running a little short?
That's right.
That's true.
After review, this is a dead ball spot, first down.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it should have been moved back at least an eighth of an inch.
Oh, I thought at least a quarter of an inch. Come on.
Oh, come on, Al, you're unrealistic.
From the 30 on first down, Everett throws a wobbler incomplete. What was that? Everett would like to review that pass. Intended for Gary, kind of. Second down. 3:05 remaining in regulation. Saints lead by 7. Rams have all of their timeouts remaining.
Somewhere you have to think that Jim Everett is thinking about where's that rookie I've been trying to work on all night. Vince Buck, who beat him once with number 83, Flipper Anderson. See if he can isolate him once again.
2nd and 10 from the 30. Everett throws. That's caught at the 30 by Gary, and he gets wrestled down by Maxey and Atkins. 3rd and 9 upcoming.
Well, this is a passing game that Joe Kapp could be proud of.
Everett's going to take a timeout. 3rd and 9. Somehow I get the feeling that not every one of Jimmy Johnson's hairs is in place right now.
No. This has been a very difficult game for the Cowboys and their legions of followers back in Texas and all around the country to undergo. This is a tough game.
Well, what a great job they've done, too. And you think that the draft picks that they've collected, and a couple of them, key ones, are going to come from the New Orleans Saints. And they should be good draft picks, the 1st and the 3rd.
Well, the point you have to make about the Cowboys, Frank, is would they really be in this position of having to have someone else fall on their face to get into the playoffs if they don't lose Troy Aikman?
Well, they're looking at this game, too, and they're saying, we beat New Orleans. They beat them 17-13 December the 2nd, and I'm sure they're feeling they could be a better representative. And who knows? But they've done quite a job at turning it around.
Meanwhile, 3rd down and 9 upcoming. L.A. from the 31. Saints ahead, 17-10, 2:42 left in regulation. Everett fires wide open at the 45-yard line. Aaron Cox, that's his first catch of the night, and he takes it down to the 37. First down, L.A. They have 2 timeouts left, plus the 2-minute warning.
Well, you double cover the outside guys, Willie Anderson and Henry Ellard, and you'll get the opening over the middle to the 3rd wide receiver.
Over time, you can smell it.
Everett on first down. Everett throws, and the pass is dropped at the 18. Henry Ellard was there, had to stop. Benny Thompson was covering, and he couldn't hang on. Tough pass from the catch. 2nd down.
How tough it must be for Steve Sidwell, the defensive coordinator for the Saints, high up in the press box, trying to play chess with Jim Everett and the Rams, with Willie Anderson and Henry Ellard as the wide receivers. And there he is on the left with the mustache.
2nd and 10, L.A. at the 37. Saints up by 7. Gary off the Saints blitz moves through the linebackers and down to the 10-yard line. Ricky Jackson finally catches up with him, and we have come to the 2-minute warning.
You could not have a better call than this. The blitz was on, full blitz by the Saints. They were trying to get to Everett. And once you're beyond the line of scrimmage with this kind of a blitz, the linebackers are gone, and it's freewheeling. And Gary with a great run down to the 2-yard line. But what a time to have that call.
First down at the 11 when we come back. Carl Smith, the offensive coordinator, looking on very anxiously as the New Orleans defense tries to dig in. The Rams are 1st and 10 at the 11, 2 minutes to play. And Everett throws to the 1. Holohan makes the catch. He's tackled by Atkins inside the 2. Going to be close to a first down. And close enough that McCarter is going to measure.
And here's with 2 timeouts left. You're in a position You're in a position you can get a first down now without getting into the end zone. The first down could be attained if it's not here. So the Rams have a little time to be deliberate. Do they want to score? Well, there they go with the first down. There they go with the first down.
Yep. Now the Rams, they can afford to be deliberate here. They can afford to let the clock begin to run down. Now the clock is started again.
I mean, if I'm the Rams, I am in no hurry to run a play here. And you have plenty of time and the timeouts at your disposal to get all your plays in.
Well, the play clock was set at 25 after the measurement. It's now down to 10.
Right. And Jim Everett will use it up.
They don't miss a trick.
Well, he's going to go ahead and take a timeout.
And that's a good way to use all the time. He took it down to what, 3 seconds?
Yeah, that doesn't hurt the Rams at all.
Clock down to 1:26. They have one timeout remaining. And they have a first and goal at the 1-yard line. Well, they were also, I think we were giving them a little too much credit there. They were not quite in sync in what was going on in the formation.
Take a touchdown as quickly as they could get it. Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, they would have preferred to have run the play without taking the timeout. I mean, they only took the timeout because you can see the confusion there with Houlihan. He's not sure where he's going. Well, I'm not saying they don't try to get in the end zone, but there was a situation where the clock was running. Burn as much time off that clock as you possibly can before you snap the ball. You're only going to get 4 downs here. You have plenty of time to get all 4 of those downs run if you need them.
Gary's the tailback. Delpino's the fullback. Carter in motion. Fake to Gary. Everett throws. Touchdown. Caught by Delpino.
Good move on Everett, and he's not one of the great runners, but he turned the corner and gave it the look of taking it on the run into the end zone, and that was when the coverage relaxed on Delpino.
Boy, and Delpino, wait till you see the job he did with his feet, staying in the field of play and catching the ball at the same time. This talented player from the University of Missouri, watch this, knows he's running out of field, come back to the ball, and look at that. Look at him drag those feet. Beautiful.
That's also a fine pass on the part of Everett.
Beautiful.
They're going to take another look at it. There's a critical extra point, obviously, upcoming.
The play stands as ruled. Completed pass, touchdown.
Mike Lansford is 40 for 41 in conversions this year. Mike McDonald's the snapper. Pete Houlihan is the holder. And you hear nothing in the dome here, but a lot of cheering in Dallas and Fort Worth and in Byron.
You still have 1:19 remaining, and one of the best place kickers in the game today, and Morton Anderson. He can reach it from way out.
Irving, Texas.
Things have lightened up in Dallas, haven't they? Couldn't come down to this man.
17 all.
Well, the Saints, who have been getting fabulous production from their kick return units, get to see if there's any more magic left in that special teams huddle.
Rams have their kickoff team huddled on the sidelines, and John Robinson was over having a word with them. Same thing is happening across the field with the return team, the New Orleans Saints.
Saints have 2 timeouts remaining. And again, the Saints special teams, excellent tonight. Lansford has been kicking off short all season long. There are the numbers on that Ram drive. You had that bizarre sequence there with an apparent first down on the 3rd down play was overruled, and then they went for it on 4th down. They reviewed it. The first down was upheld, and they kept on marching down the field. And one of the key plays, too, was that catch by Aaron Cox, his only catch of the game. Joe Marciano, the special teams coach. He's going to send Atkins back deep along with Gil Fenerty. Lansford kicking off for the Rams. 1:19 left in regulation. Short kick, 17-yard line, Gene Atkins. And he's bumped out by Lansford at the 43-yard line with 1:14 and a pair of timeouts left.
I mean, John Robinson has to be on the verge of just popping his cork at this pathetic kick coverage by the Rams.
I don't know whether I'd like to think that was by design. The Lansford hung that up there. It only went to about the 28-yard line.
I mean, the first thing you learn is how to put a ball on a tee, kick it, and then cover it. And the Rams tonight are covering kicks like some sort of a sandlot collection.
Pretty indicative of the way it's been going this season in that department. First down, Saints from the 43. Walsh trying to get him into field goal range. Underneath, dropped by Fenerty, who would have had a 10 or 15-yard pickup. Looked upfield before he looked the ball into his hands. Second down.
They really, realistically, only have to get about 22 yards before they can consider this man, Morton Anderson.
Well, they'd have got way over 10 of them on that last play. The Rams were going with a double outside zone. The middle was wide open.
Second and 10 at the 43-yard line. 1:10 to play. Walsh underneath. It's Perryman to the Ram 45. First down. Tackled by Anthony Newman. They want to save a timeout. They'll go without a huddle.
There's plenty of time, though. This is where Walsh has to stay cool.
First down from the 45. Walsh pressured by Farinez. Throws a wobbler that's incomplete, intended for Perriman, who was well covered. 41 seconds to play. Second and 10.
The 35 is the minimum. The 35-yard line would be the minimum of where they'd like to be. That would be a 52-yard field goal. So they need to go another 10 just to have Anderson get a shot at it from 52.
Anderson tonight has made one from 41 and missed from 51 and 48.
The 30-yard line would be, I would think, someplace where they could breathe easy.
Second and 10. It's caught by Martin inside the 30, inside the 20, out of bounds at the 13.
That's great discipline on the part of Jim Moore, the offensive coordinator. They stayed with what they know will work. It takes a lot of discipline to do it. Bring the man underneath, high percentage, and again, that was the very play they opened with.
That's exactly
with big
right,
yardage, bringing Eric Martin all the way across the field. And it pays off big for New Orleans. But good discipline on the part of this coaching staff.
You're exactly right. They opened the game with this exact play, the same direction, with the same result, a completion to Eric Martin.
First down at the 11. The play clock is down to 5. And they're just going to set it up for Morton Anderson. Walsh covers it up. Timeout is called here for the moment by McCarter as they unpile.
Well, Morton Anderson has already won a trip to Hawaii in the Pro Bowl this year, and this is an excellent chance to prove that he earned it.
McCarter says, let the clock start again. Saints will run it down, and that man will see if he can win them a trip to Chicago.
Are being affected in the next few seconds. A lot of travel plans. It's an NFL season.
Well, you've got 8 seconds. If you're wondering why didn't they take it down to 3, in a way, if you have a fumbled snap, you still have a timeout left. If something went awry here and the kick wasn't made, at least you might have another couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But
for that,
that's academic.
You make a valid point, Al, but I think if that's the case, they let it go too far. I'm
Yep.
not sure you'd get another play in 8 seconds.
Barnhart will spot it at the 19. It's a chip shot for Anderson. 29-yard attempt. Blocked! And a flag is down. There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Alvin Wright was the guy who blocked it. Was one of the Rams offside?
I think
Yes. We believe that. Right in the middle of the Rams line, there is movement.
Offside, defensive nosedive. After distance, repeat second down.
Take a look here in the middle. Watch the movement across the line of scrimmage. There it is.
Well, it was right over the center, and
well,
he got the
Alvin
jump
Wright
on him.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, you talk about people going up, down, and all around. Everybody who jumped out of their seat in Dallas is back in it.
Now it's a 24-yard attempt. They'll go to Chicago.
Saints players are all over the field. Ditka and his guys looking on. They now know who they're going to face.
Saints still have to kick off for what it's worth. 2 seconds remaining on the clock.
The fact that it's New Year's Eve is totally superfluous to the people of New Orleans. There'd be a major league party anyway.
Saints will finish 8-8 on the season, and the final playoff team determined in this kind of wacky year in the NFL.
Well, you really
2 seconds remaining in the final game of the season.
You really have to sympathize with the Dallas Cowboys. They won only one game last year. They came back to the point where they had it in their own control this year. All they had to do was win one of their final 2 games. They lose their quarterback in Troy Aikman. And now I'm afraid the Cowboys pay the price of having to have somebody else do it for you.
And the Saints will be at the 500 mark for the first time this season.
On what, the 7th try?
The 7th try. They have been under 500 all year long. And 8-8, well, 8 is enough to get you to the playoffs in the NFL. In a non-strike season, only one other 500 team has reached the playoffs. That was Cleveland, which won the AFC Central with an 8-8 mark in 1985.
And 2 of the more wide-open offenses in the league will get together at Soldier Field.
And the parity or mediocrity, it doesn't matter. There's 70,000 fans on their feet here in the Superdome.
All they have to do is make the tackle. Gaston Green, who ran one back 100 yards on a Monday night in Pittsburgh. Gaston Green is still on his feet in Saint territory, and that's one last thrill for everyone.
And the regular season is over.
And Dick Clark is smiling.
And Tom Benson's going to boogie, and Jim Mora is going with his team to Chicago. That's a 55-yard run back to end it by Gaston Green.
Great scene.
I think John Robinson just said you've got a chance to go to Hawaii because the losing coach in the NFC Championship game gets the coach in the Pro Bowl.
Well, let's not jump that far ahead.
Right.
Well, a very, very happy New Year to everybody in our audience. Gentlemen, this is the end of the regular season. We'll be here tomorrow night for the Sugar Bowl, but thanks for another good year, Al and Frank, and to Kenny and Craig and our crew. You guys are the best.
Not a bad place to wind it up, is it, where we started, September the 10th with the Saints and the 49ers. And there's Tom Benson, the owner, involved in the celebration.
Well, Dick Clark, as usual, will help everybody usher in the new year, which in the Eastern time zone is about 50 minutes away. But New Year's has begun early here in the largest city in the state of Louisiana. The Superdome filled to capacity. Walsh and Gary embracing at midfield.
A couple of hurricanes.
Yep. And Morton Anderson's field goal at the end with 2 seconds to play does it. Sends the Saints into the first round of the playoffs. Later tonight, a reminder, later tonight in about 50 minutes, in fact, at least in the Eastern time zone, ringing the new year with Dick Clark live in Times Square and the magic of the Beach Boys. Sweet Sensation, Nina Blackwood, Jack Wagner as Dick Clark hosts New Year's Rockin' Eve 91 on ABC. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Happy New Year from the Superdome in New Orleans.